All right, coaches, welcome to video number 2. This is for my new coaches, although for my inspiring coaches, definitely going to learn some things as well. So stay tuned in. But we're going to focus on new coaches, coaches that have just gotten a job, might have been there a year. We're going to focus on you guys in this second video. Getting better. You're new, you want to get better. How do I get better at where I'm at, and what I'm doing? And so we're going to go along this journey. I'm going to share with you guys, like I said before, I've been in this part of the coaching journey. I was a new coach, and immediately when you first get into your seat, the demands are already on you. So you can sink or swim. You can go under, or you can get on the fast track and start to learn what you need to learn so that you can do the best that you can where you are. So let's get this thing started. So here we go. I got this job, like I mentioned in the first video, February 1st, 2017. Brand new assistant coach, Division II basketball. I coached the women's basketball. So going in, I knew that I wanted to be the best that I could be. I knew that, hey, jumping in, especially midway through the season, either you're going to sink or you're going to swim. So I knew I had to come in and I had to bring it. I had to be on top of my responsibilities. I had to make sure that, I was doing everything that my head coach needed me to do. And so I had to get on top of it real fast. And I had to do real well right out the get-go, because it's college basketball coaching has that nature to it, because you can easily be replaced, but I'm never, ever going to give a person a reason to replace me. So I'm coming in bringing it. So 4 points I want to kind of talk about here. I had the mindset. This is my mindset coming in. One of the things is I wanted to be the greatest. My motto is, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the best on the planet. Like that's just my motto. And I'm not trying to put the pressure per se on you guys, or ladies that are watching this, to just want to go after that. Maybe you're just like, hey, I want to thrive where I'm at. I ain't trying to be the best in the world. But one of the things I learned from a long time ago is, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all my might. So it's going to be my very best. But one of my things is I'm going to go for the goal. Like, I'm going to go for the highest bar. So even if I fall below that, I'm still like greater than many people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go after the bar. So I wanted to be the greatest. I wanted to win the championship. So why am I coaching anyway? If I'm not trying to win the championship, like why? My thing was, why go through all those practices, all those 10 to 12 hour days that I used to do, all those staff meetings, like lifting, like meetings, administrative staff meeting, all kinds of stuff that you go through, like in a year's time. It's a lot. Why go through this if I'm just going to go for mediocre, or just go through it just to not, get the best out of it that I can and be the very best. I mean, after all, we do coach and scout and, do film sessions and do practices to try to win the game. So if that's the goal, then why not go after it with all your might so that you can have a better chance at winning it? If you just go after it a little bit, then your chances of winning are slim. But if you go after it and try to be the very best that you can be, then I'm telling you, it's going to increase your chances. So I wanted to be the greatest. I wanted to win the championship. I wanted to help my coach be coach of the year. Like, that is the thing that I wanted to do as a new head coach. I'm like, you know what? My coach is going to be coach of the year. I'm going to do everything I can to help her look good, to push her up, to make her job easy so she can focus on the game plan, these little things that she want me to do. I'm going to take care of them. Hey, coach, go run. Can you take this box to the post office so it can be mailed out? I'm taking it right now. Like, I did that so many times. Like, that little bitty things, like, You want to be on top of it. Like if you get asked to do stuff as a new coach, do it right away. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Do it right away. Show that you're on top of it. I'm telling you, that'll bring you promotion real quick. But be on top of it. Be the very best. That's how you get better, because now when you do those little things, now other things are opened up to you, and it just keeps you sharp on your game. Because when you look at the little things as they're little things, you want to look at the little things as big deals. Like if your coach asks you to do something real small, and you like, oh man, that's beneath me. Inside you might be like, oh, I ain't doing that. Why I got to do that? The attitude you want to take is, oh yeah, gladly, I'm gonna do that, because when I learn to do these little things, they're really big things. Treat the little things like big things. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing at the results you'll see when you start doing that. So I want to be the greatest. I want to win the championship. I wanted to help my coach be coach of the year. And I wanted to make myself valuable. Let me talk about that for a minute. As a new coach, you want to make yourself valuable. You don't want to be the only person in the place that doesn't have value. So now you're looked at as, oh man, that's Coach Lewis. Hey, Coach Lewis, like there's nothing about Coach Lewis that you can say, oh, hey, go Coach Lou. And boy, you got the bomb offense, boy. Your zone press, it's amazing. I mean, there should be something about you. Make yourself valuable, so when you come in the door, people are like, man, I heard about that zone offense that you be running. That's a nice offense. I done heard about you. Like, make yourself valuable. If you're not valuable coming in the door, make yourself valuable when you're there, so you're always on top of it. So if other people, if the whole team and the coach is late, don't you be late. You be on time, because somebody's going to notice that, and they're like, man, coach always on time. Like, make yourself valuable, so that now when the bosses and the ADs and the head coach and the principals, or whoever level you're coaching at as a new coach, now when they come around, it's promotion time, it's pay raise time, it's let me tell this college coach about my prized assistant coach time. Then you done your job so excellently that now, man, your bosses can rant and rave about you and parade you around in their conversations, because, man, you're so excellent. You come to work looking tidy and nice, and your work is turned in on time. Your expense report's turned in on time. You do what you asked. You do even more, where their eyebrows are raised. And I was like, man, like I even asked him to do that, and he did that. Man, he vacuumed the office. Whatever the case. But after you do your responsibilities, always look for that extra level that you can go above what you've done, to just, here's the thing. I always say go the extra mile, because there is no traffic there. There is no traffic on the extra mile. A lot of people don't go the extra mile. They do exactly what they're asked to do, and that's it, and it's over, and I'm going home. Go the extra mile. There's no traffic there. All right, tweet that. Make sure you tweet that, okay? All right. I want to go over a few points with you guys in this second video. This is how I grew. You want to get better as a new coach. Here are 4 key things that I personally did when I became an assistant coach and I was a new coach. So I wanted to get better. So these are 4 areas that we're going to go over. And so make sure you pay attention to these and put these things into practice, because they really, really help. All right. So the first thing is you want to network with neighboring schools. So whether you're a high school coach, whether you're a college coach, you're a new coach, NBA, WNBA, whoever may be watching this, wherever you are, network, reach out to your neighboring schools or teams. All right. So this is what I did when I first coached at Central State University. For those you guys didn't know, when I got to Central State, right there in the Dayton area, one of the first things I did, we had some weekends off, things like that. I sent an email. I picked, there's several Division I schools, and see, this is what I did. I didn't I didn't reach out to, at the time, I didn't reach out to the schools that were at the level I was because I wanted to be better. So I reached out to schools that were higher than me. So I was at D2, I reached out to D1 schools because I'm trying to get better. So I'm going to study on the level above where I am so that when I operate, I'm operating on the higher level. So I reached out to University of Dayton, Wright State, Ohio State. I reached out to Cincinnati, just networking, and I sent a general email. Hey, how you doing? This is Coach Lewis. I'm a new coach at Central State. I'm new to the area. Just wanted to reach out. Would love to meet with you. Would love to talk with you. Would love to come over and watch your practices. And you know what? Everybody didn't respond, but several people did. So because of that, I was able to meet them, network with them, start to learn from some of the things that they knew. We connected on social media. I had an opportunity to go to some games, got some tickets to go to some games, and just begin to see those coaches in action. And so that when you hang around that higher level, what happens is that higher level begins to pull you up. You can't hang around something before long to where it doesn't start, taking a hold of you and start to touch you in a way where it's like, oh man, you start aspiring different things now. You see what other coaches are doing at the higher level, how they're training their players, how they're running practices. And so you get ideas and different things. You're able to take it back to your program. And it just pulls you up. And so now you begin to operate like a higher level coach versus where you are. And so that's why you want to put yourself around those kind of people. You want to reach out to your neighboring programs and your neighboring schools. You want to meet those coaches. You want to go to their practices. You want to be around that. You want to just put yourself in that place, because I tell you, when I started going to Ohio State practices, I went to Wright State practices, I went to University of Dayton practices. I would go around and hang around the University of Cincinnati program. And I learned so many things. I'll tell you one thing from Ohio State practices. I've never seen the floor taped in a college, facility. And I went to Ohio State practice, and one of my good friends coached there, and their floor was taped up. Their floor had just markings on it for plays and markers for where you're going to run and just different things and positions for players within the offense and defense. And so I had seen it before, but until I got to Ohio State's practice, it was just like, man, like, this is sweet. Like, I learned the impact of it and learned how, like, amazing it was and how it really impacts the players. And I asked the coaches about it, and they explained different things, And so I took that concept, I took it back to my Division II school, and I started doing it, and some things changed it. Some things worked that never worked before, but it helped me in a different way. And so, but it didn't happen until I exposed myself to it, until I exposed myself to other programs and what they're doing to get different results out of their players, and how they're raising the IQ of their players by doing certain things like playing music in practice and just different things, different kinds of music and at certain times. And there's a lot of things that I learned just by going to these college practices and these college facilities, the Division I schools, hanging with the coaches, being in the office, seeing how they operate, taking drives and stopping by SEC schools and meeting people and just learning how they do their recruiting. And I spent so much time doing that, and I wanted to know what the best schools in the nation were doing. And so that's going to lead me into my next segment, number 2, out of our 4 points. Number 2, I spent a lot of time watching, because you can't make it everywhere. I mean, you can't go all the way around the country and go to everybody's school. You just can't do it. But we have a great tool called the internet that has so many videos of coaches talking and behind the scenes in their practices and their facilities and equipment rooms, equipment manager videos, and strength and conditioning videos. You can learn about a whole program right on YouTube. So one of the things I did when I became a Division II coach, women's basketball, is I started looking right to the top. Like, okay, I'm a college basketball coach on the women's side. All right, who is the best person in the world? Who's the best women's program in the world and the best women's coach on the planet? Geno Auriemma, winning all those championships that he did. So I'm like, you know what? That's who I'm learning from. So literally, man, I would be in the office lunchtime, before break, before work, after work, watching Geno Auriemma videos of him talking about the program, videos of him doing drills, him and his assistants, videos of their practices, videos of their games. And that would be my daily, man. I'm talking about easily an hour, easily an hour a day, like doing that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm talking about to the wee hours of the morning. You know, sometimes I would stay in the office just watching it. And it helped that I was close to campus too. But I stayed and I watched and I sold into myself, and I fed myself what is the best doing. Like, I want to know what the best is doing. The best person on the planet at my job, in my genre, women's basketball, what are they doing? And I started feeding myself. I learned so many things. I mean, down to the opening drill of practice. There's a drill that Geno has that he opens practice with his team. He opens practice like that with the USA basketball team. Like, and it's like, it would behoove me not to, you know, it's a great drill. And so I took it because of the explanation and the purpose of it is amazing. He does it with the top players on the planet. So just learning little things, adding to what you want to, what you learn, adding what you want to what you're doing. It just made a huge difference in my program. And so I would watch videos. I would, you know, because I was an assistant coach and I was a new coach. I had a lot of responsibilities because in my program, I was the only assistant coach. So, you know, I had a lot of responsibilities, from laundry to making sure jerseys were put out in the locker room, to making sure the locker room was clean, making sure the office is clean. You know, eventually, because we didn't have a strength and conditioning coach, I got my, you know, I had to go after my strength and conditioning certification, and I received that. So I was running the players through workouts. I was creating workouts. I was doing individual workouts for my team, for all the players. Like, I had a lot of responsibilities. So, you know, when you go on YouTube, there's videos of Texas and, you know, other teams, their equipment managers. I'm like, man, I've never done it. Let me learn how to do it. And not only did I want to learn how to do it, but I wanted to do it like the best did it. So, you know, you got those schools like the Texas schools and the Kentuckys and the, you know, the UConns, and they show behind the scenes of the equipment managers and how they put the jerseys out and just different things, or how they, you know, they're excellent at what they do and how they do it on a road trip, whatever. I learned a lot of that stuff because I wanted to be the best. And I wanted to, even though our jerseys, we didn't have Nike and a whole bunch of stuff, I took what we had and made it look sweet. I would lay it out in the lockers. I took pride in it. You know, I would make sure the players' shoes were in a certain place and their socks. And so when they came in, I wanted them to feel good, because when I was a player, man, gear and the way the locker room was and different things like that, it meant the world to me as an athlete. And I know for many athletes out there, it meant the world. So I wanted to bring that same special feeling to my program when I did things like that. So when they come in the locker room, their stuff is laid out. They feel like a pro, even though they're in Division II college. They feel good because their stuff is done right and it's neat and it's hanging up in their locker room like a pro. So instead of, you know, just throwing it in there or just putting it down or put it in the pile and they got to pick it up, man, I started getting hangers and hanging the jersey up, hanging the shooting shirt, hanging the shorts and putting their shoe. You know, I did it all. I went there because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be it. I wanted my players to feel good. I wanted them to feel like when we came in here, oh my gosh, like Coach Lou got it laid out. It's laid out. It's nice. We feel good. Like, because you can use all of those little things, they can add up to a win. That's just a small way of it. That's a small little piece of a win, but it can all, when you get to do your equipment right and the jerseys are washed on time and players ain't got to come out like my shorts are still dirty. I learned how to do all those things just by watching videos on YouTube, man. It was amazing. And so behind the scenes, what the program's doing, how do they run practices? How do they run staff meetings? Like what kind of paper, like do they do pamphlets? Do they do packets? Like what do they give to the players? Like I started learning all of that. And I had a lot of responsibility. So I had a field day on YouTube just looking for stuff and learning, man. So my encouragement to you all coaches, man, it's so much material out there. If there's something that you need to learn about, man, you can go on YouTube and learn so much just by watching. And some of the best coaches, I mean, I used to watch New England Patriot, Kansas City Chief, Denver Broncos, equipment managers. They show the behind the scenes when they go on the road, how they pack things. Like I learned all that stuff. And so you can do that for basketball stuff, practices, equipment manager stuff, strength and conditioning. There's so much stuff out there. So make sure that you're taking advantage of the free tool called the internet, y'all. And you can learn about and be excellent at those little things and go for the top. Learn how the best are doing it. Like not just anybody, like how are the best doing it? I was watching yesterday and I'm not coaching right now. I'm helping coaches. But yesterday I'm consulting and I'm helping teams and coaches. But yesterday I found myself watching the New England Patriots series that they did on work. And I was watching their equipment manager and behind the scenes and how that works. Man, it comes into play. I'm going to be able to help people. That's sharpening my skill to be able to help you guys, at that kind of stuff. I want to see what the best, how is the equipment manager being at his best going to help the coaches, learning all those processes. So, man, watch videos, find out who's the best at doing what you have to do or your responsibilities. Who is the best in the world at doing that, and learn from them via the internet. All right. This third thing that I want to, talk about a little bit, learn from those around you. Anything that you do in life, especially new coaches, aspiring coaches as well, anything that you do, there's nothing that is like unrelated to what you do. So if you're a coach and you're around a janitor, you can learn from a janitor. You can learn from a person that's a strength and conditioning coach, or you can learn from somebody across campus that's in the administrative office. Like, how do they do things? Why do they do things? And you can take that and you can add it to your job. But specifically, what I was talking about in this, when you're learning from people around you, is learn from other coaches around you. You may be, 99% of the time, unless you're a all male or all female school, you're going to have other coaches. So if you're one of the assistants, you're going to have your head coach. You're going to have another assistant, maybe if you're in college. But then you're also going to have, if you're on the men's team, you got the women's coaching staff. Or if you're on the women's team, you got the men's coaching staff. So one of the things I did at Central State is the men's coaching staff became like friends of mine. We would go to lunch, daily. We were in the same office area. So I would ask them questions. I would learn. I would sit with the head coach and ask him certain things. Like, I wanted to know, like, I wanted to learn. Like, so why have this wisdom sitting over here, and I'm a young coach, and I'm new, but you got this wisdom sitting right down the hall. And like I told you guys before, people love to talk about themselves. They don't mind giving you a nugget or two of something they learned. They'll do it in a heartbeat. They love doing it. So got this wisdom sitting right down here. And I'm like, hey, coach, sometimes I'll go in there. What do you think about this, coach? Like, hey, what's the best way to do this? Or how should I run this? Or ask him about a play, or I might ask him about a process, or how do I deal with a situation with a player, academically, or whatever the case. Use the people around you. There is, in the Bible, it talks about there's treasure hidden in earthen vessels. Like, there's people around you where there's treasures walking around you. And sometimes we have to, and I've been there, sometimes you have to knock the pride off yourself enough to be able to reach out, because we want people to think that we know it all, what I'm saying? And we got it all together. But, I challenge you all to lose that mentality, man. Lose it, because it doesn't do you any good. You know, I've listened to a lot of Kobe Bryant videos, and one of the things that he did throughout his career, he said he would make cold calls to like greats, Wilt Chamberlain, and I'm sorry, not Wilt Chamberlain, but Bill Russell was one of the guys, and he would also make calls to like just some of the greats and Michael Jordan and Oscar Robertson. Like just ask them questions. Like he would make calls to CEOs and ask them how they did things, so how he can translate that over to basketball. He got anything out of it he could, and so that was amazing. And so if Kobe Bryant did it, he's one of the greatest of our time. You know, like how about us as new coaches? Why not make a few calls? Why not go down the hallway and ask a coach? You know, we just can't be prideful to think that, you know, because people really don't care. They're not looking at you like, oh man, does he know it all or does he not? You know what I'm saying? Like, but sometimes we can carry that thing like, man, we don't want nobody to think we don't know what we're doing. But really, one of the greatest, you know, signs of humility is the fact that you can, you know, humble yourself to ask about something. And it may not be because you don't know it. Maybe you just want another, you know, a little bit of more wisdom on what you're doing. Maybe because you want to be the best at what you do. So you want to learn from people who have been before you or who have done or are doing what you're trying to do. You know, if you're a new coach, man, there's tons of wisdom at all kinds of levels just waiting for you to ask and people around you. So make sure that those people right around you, those coaches, those people that have coached, you know, those people that kind of stop in the gym every now and then, the alums, that the former coaches, like, man, you have a boatload of wisdom, right? So if you're at a school, you're coaching, or if you're in pros coaching, man, there's people that have went ahead of you, that have been there before you. Reach out to those people, you know, get their numbers, like reach out, try to find their contact information. 9 times out of 10, they're probably connected with the school still. So try to get their information so that you can, you know, reach out to them, ask them how they did it. How did they succeed? You know? So there are people right around you. So make sure you just ask, humble yourself to ask. All right. And that's the third thing that we went over. First one, reach out to your neighboring schools, those programs around you. Take advantage of the internet. Watch videos of those who are the best at what you do and your responsibilities. If you got 5 responsibilities, there's people that are the best in the world or some of the best in the world at every one of those categories. So make sure you find some videos, watch them, learn. Number 3, learn from those around you. You got coaches, people around you. I did it. It works. I promise you it does. All right. Number 4, you want to spend time with your craft. You have to be willing to spend time with your craft. All right. So spending time with your craft, point number 4. If you want to be the best, if you want to get better, you have to be willing to spend time with your craft. This is kind of a end all, bringing them all together. When I was at Division II, man, I'm telling you, when I first got that coaching job, I spent ample amount of time working on what was in my care. I watched videos, learned from people. But after I got that information, I would spend time in the office. I would spend, you know, we go home at 5 o'clock every day. That was the go home time. You off work unless you had something pending. But sometimes I'd be in the office till 10 at night. I would just work through, get my dinner, come back, stay in the office, man. I'm telling you, some of the greatest times of my life, man, where it's just you. Everybody else gone. It's just you. You got your music on. You got your food. You might have one of the games coming on that night or something, another school or, you know, an NBA game, and you just sitting there working on your stuff. Like, you can be done for the day, but you know what? I'm going to spend some extra hours working on this scout, getting ahead, doing something that coach didn't even ask me to do, but I want to go ahead and do this so I can just be ahead of the game and be on top and be excellent and go the extra mile. You know, I spent so many nights in the office, man. I'm telling you, like, I would be in there. Sometimes my coach would have to make me go home. She would call and she would say, go home. Where are you at? Get out of the office. Well, that's a good thing. You know, I know she was looking out for me, of course, but she had to kick me out of the office. Like, she kicked me out, like, because I was spending so much time. But, you know, when it came to things being done, things were done and things were excellent. And so I wanted to go the extra mile. When I learned all the stuff from watching videos and going to practices, now this was my time outside of regular work hours to implement these things, to test these things out, to see if they worked, you know, and if they didn't work, try other things, you know, the school I was at, there wasn't a big budget, you know, so in a lot of ways we had to make things happen, you know, so I spent enough time with my craft to be creative at things. If we needed to fundraise, like I would spend an extra hour or two after work. When I was working on that project, how can we do this? How can I make this happen? How can we make some extra dollars? And so I came up with a great idea that my coach wanted to use, and we made some money, you know. And so I just took time to spend with my craft. You know, don't be so in a hurry to run out of there when the fire bell ring, you know, when 5 o'clock hit, oh, I gotta go, you know, because I'm telling you, like, those are the coaches that, you know, when it's time to go, they go. When it's time to come, they come right on the dot. You know, they not trying to do anything extra. You know, those are probably the coaches. And I'm not saying this for as gospel, because, you know, you can get your stuff done between 9 and 5. But most cases, the work time that's allotted, if you want to be a great and one of the greatest, you have to spend extra time. You have to spend extra time at your craft. Some of those nights would be, I'm spending in there and I'm looking at some motivational videos that would make me better. But somewhere up in there, I took that time. I took time outside of the normal. When I was done with everything that coach asked me to do and I was completely finished, turned in, I'm ready to go. I could have went, but I was like, you know what? Let me put in an extra couple hours on something else or another area, or let me get better here, or let me watch this video. You know, I spent that extra time. And although this is really close to, you know, those last few points where I'm saying watch things, the emphasis here is spend that extra time. Like, spend the extra time to get those things done, because that's where I got better. When I spent that extra time watching those videos after work, working on a project, brainstorming, getting ahead of the game, so that when things came up, I'm already ahead. I'm 2 weeks ahead on those things. I'm on top of my care logs and logging my hours for the NCAA. You know, I was on top of it. So make sure you spend that extra time. If it's not at the office, let it be at home for a couple hours, but make sure you spend the extra time. Come in 45 minutes early, leave 45 minutes late. That's an hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? And it's not too far out the norm, especially if you have family. You know, you got to get home. So all right, that's it for this video, guys. Video 2, getting better for new coaches. I'm just going to summarize these points real quickly. First point I went over is make sure you reach out to the programs around you, the schools around you, because there's coaches and there's teams there, Division I teams or whatever. If you're pro, if you're aspiring coach, go and visit some practices of the teams around you. The Division I, Division II schools, there's schools everywhere. Go visit some practice. There's some practices. There's always something that you can learn. So point 1, reach out, network. All right. Point 2, if you want to be the best, watch the best, learn from the best. There's an internet out here that has videos from everybody, from the greats on there, at your position, your assistant coach. Man, go after watching them, because you can learn so many things just by clicking on the video. I mean, we're on our phones all the time anyway. Click on YouTube. Check out the best at what who's the best at what you do, and watch them and listen to them. Listen to an interview. Watch one of their practices. Learn from them. It's all there for us. Third thing is learn from those around you. There's coaches around you. You're a coach. There's a coaching staff in place. Coaches that are on your staff. There's coaches on the other staff, or the men's team or the women's team. Learn from them. Take them out to eat. Go to lunch with them. Ask them questions. Go down there on break. Knock on their door. There's a wealth of knowledge in everyone, you know. So get to asking questions. All right. And the last thing is put extra time into your craft. Sell out, man. Spend extra time. Watch videos. You know, that extra time before and after work. Use that time to hone your craft, to improve, to go over some plays, to learn some new plays, so that when your coach asks you for plays, hey, you got 3 or 4 ready to go. Defensively, offensively, press, blobs and slobs, you ready to go. You are already ready for them. So you got to stay ready, and that's one of the ways you can stay ready and be ahead of the game is if you spend more time in your craft so that when things happen, when opportunities come, you are ready because you've already been preparing and you taking that extra time before and after your regular work hours, just like you would if you were a player. You spend extra time before and after practice. That's how you get better. The same thing at coaching. You got to spend extra time before and after work. When the clock is off, when coach says go home and everybody else is out of the office, spend that extra time. It will pay off. So that is it for video 2. Hope you guys got something out of this and took really good notes. It's very, very imperative to do this step because as you get better, then as we focus on video 3, opportunities are going to begin to open up for you to move up. So it's going to be an exciting video 3. Can't wait to get into it. Talk to you guys soon.